I think that's partially what we're here for. We've ended some work, so we got fingers crossed for that, but actually partially we're here is to actually learn from how good creative award ceremonies get run and some of the intricacies that go into those types of events. Sadly, from an East Africa perspective, over the last several years, there haven't been any creative awards. They used to be periodic, but they've sort of fallen off the calendar. And I think that's just a big detriment to the industry, because what that is, there's probably two issues with creative awards. First, it should be a celebration of professionals doing damn great work, right? And if we're not acknowledging professionals, then we're not actually rewarding and recognizing the talent within our industry. And I think that's wrong if we don't do that. So we must do that for that reason. But also it sends to the clients the message that, okay, we're not an industry that respects ourselves and therefore gives them a little bit of license to sort of move us down this totem pole of respect, below lawyers and bankers and accountants and that type of thing, and slot us in there. Somehow we're not as professional. But at the end of the day, I don't know any lawyer, banker, accountant who's created a great global brand. I know plenty of ad agencies who have. So, by actually showcasing creative awards, we raise the level of perceived professionalism in the industry, and that allows us to play in our rightful place in the C-suites and boardrooms of these companies. So I think, one of the key mandates that we're very conscious of from a TBWA East Africa point of view is that, and one of the reasons that we're actually driving a lot more investment is that so that we can start initiating those creative awards again. So next, we have a bit of a press conference on Tuesday in Nairobi. One of the things that we're mentioning there is a restarting of those awards. So we actually start clawing back some of this sort of professional respect, I think, if we can term it like that, as well as, just celebrating the great people we have doing great work. And as we saw, talking to the people here, late last night, after the formal Laurie's Awards, it's like, damn, some of that stuff is really, shit hot. Next year, if I want that, I'm going to have to do so much better. So it just raises also the level of the work, and I think that's been a complaint to a degree of some of the clients, that there's been static work done. It hasn't evolved, so I think that's a third, valued added bonus of doing more creative awards, is actually pushing that bar higher and higher each year. Yeah, absolutely. What we're seeing in both, Mozambique and Angola, traditionally a lot of creative talent was coming out of Portugal to either start agencies or as ECDs or art directors or whatever they may be in some of the agencies in both those Lusophone countries. What you've seen very much in Angola as sort of leading the charge is a lot more Brazilian, cross-Atlantic. The biggest furniture retailer there is a Brazilian company. You've got a whole range of Brazilian brands. So obviously making links between agencies, brand managers and companies that cross the Atlantic, as well as agencies that serve those brands, is a natural progression, and that's growing really quite quickly. So now we have this situation that we're seeing is that you really have the triangle effect. Brazil, Portugal, Angola and Mozambique, trading creative talent. So you get that, step up in terms of knowledge, exposure, experience, and we actually think in our own network from TBWA, when we had our conference earlier this week, some of the best work, the most awarded work, was coming out of our agency in Mozambique, and in just a level of crisp, clear art direction, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And that was really exciting to see. A lot of local talent. There's also a smattering of Portuguese and Brazilian, working with the teams, and that's a growing phenomenon, particularly Angola, and it's Mozambique as well. So once again, I think there's a great thing, share and share alike in that sense. Well, I think we're going to start a little bit, I think anybody who's organised awards, you don't bite off more than you can chew. It's first and foremost reinvigorating the Kenya Creative Awards, but I think it'd be silly for us just to reinvigorate that. I think we have to do, because that's sort of like going back to what was previous. We have to go one better if we have to do it, and that's my view, is that we created an East African Awards. So you look at the countries of Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Ethiopia, some really, really good, interesting creative talent in Ethiopia. So open it up for everybody. We'd like to do that next year. You know, certainly have it, it'll probably be the back end of next year, just given the logistics and coordination of that. But if you look at the agencies and the if you're looking at juries, you know, people are plugged into international networks, so they can get, you know, credible juries. Obviously, people who are, you know, judging on the panels here are likely candidates to be invited as well. So I think you can get the juries. I think the work is there, and I think it is important that we set that up. But definitely 2013, we want to make it the first year of the East Africa Creative Awards.